What's up, good people? Garrett Sisti here. I'm just back from day 2 of Chargers training camp. Just got back, turned on the camera, fired up the mic, here to give you a quick hitter on everything that happened on the second day of Chargers training camp. I was there today. Shout out to all those that I got to meet today, especially Liogl. Liogl? I don't know how to pronounce your handle, but good to put a face to the name. And also the few of you that said hi. But for those of you who are still thinking about going to training camp, Jamie and I are organizing a little meetup like we've done for the past couple of years. We will be there on Sunday, which is next Sunday, August 6th. Jamie and I will be there. We can all meet up, and then we're going to go and grab something to eat, maybe get some drinks afterwards. So try to join us August 6th. We'll be there. Hope to see you guys there. Again, thanks for everybody that I got to see today. It was cool to see you all. Let's talk about training camp. So you know about August 6th, but let's talk about today. Today, in day 2, we got some questions answered. So let's just go over kind of the depth chart, because there's a lot of position groups that are pretty nailed down right now, but there are a few that are up for grabs. And we got to see how it was early on in camp. So right off the bat, J.C. Jackson, Michael Davis are outside corners. Inside, Jasir Taylor got the nod with the starters all day today. It was not Asante Samuel Jr. It was Jasir Taylor, the former 6th-round pick. In terms of the wide receivers, it was Keenan Allen, it was Mike Williams, and then for wide receiver 3, it was Joshua Palmer for the overwhelming majority of the snaps over rookie Quentin Johnston, their 1st-round pick. Nothing to read into here. It's early in camp. They're going to give it to the veteran. They always do. It'll work its way out. So nothing really to get really upset about quite yet. So, which, by the way, we'll get to these wide receivers and how they perform today, but that's just how it's shaking out right now. And as expected, no surprise here, Easton Stick is your QB2. The newly signed Justin Herbert, obviously the starter, and they had Easton Stick at QB2, and then Max Duggan was QB3. He's also a rookie. Same thing. You know, this is going to be a competition in camp, but right now they're giving, obviously, the veteran the nod at QB2 with the second-team offense. In terms of running back, Austin Eckler was there today. Looked good. He was your RB1. But RB2, getting the most snaps today, was Isaiah Spiller over Joshua Kelly. So you've got your 3 right now lined up, because you saw a lot of Isaiah Spiller sprinkled in with the first-team offense today, and you saw a lot more Joshua Kelly with the second-team offense today. So they're giving Isaiah Spiller a lot of opportunities in camp right away. Austin Eckler, Isaiah Spiller right now with RB2. You could probably think Joshua Kelly maybe in that 2A, 2B with Isaiah Spiller right now. And then when you go a little bit further down the depth chart, with the 4th guy, it's Larry Roundtree. None of the UDFAs have gotten the shake Roundtree off. Again, he's the veteran. He's right now getting the 4th team, well, not 4th team, but the RB4 snaps with this running back group. In terms of the interior defensive line, that's pretty much set in season, but because both Tito Obonia and Austin Johnson are out right now and start on the PUP, there's been a rotation. It's Sebastian Joseph Day, obviously, in the interior, but it was a pretty healthy mix of some other guys. It was Christopher Hinton, it was Nick Williams, it was the rookie Scott Matlock, all going in and rotating next to Sebastian Joseph Day. And so that's kind of how the rotation is right now with those 2 out. And then let's just get into some of these position groups. So we know for quarterback, just we'll go offense, defense, and I guess we can talk about special teams if we want to, but I don't want to, so I probably won't. Quarterback, Herbert is still Herbert. He was throwing dimes today. Easton Stick is still Easton Stick. Nothing new to really report there. And Max Duggan was taking way too many checkdowns on his 7-on-7s, 11-on-11s. I mean, there were no really, he was working through his reads, but he never really pulled the trigger today. And it didn't really feel like you could get a real read on any of these wide receivers, which we'll talk about the depth chart, but I'm kind of excited for the guys at the bottom of the wide receiver depth chart and how that competition shakes out. But you can't really get a lot of news from these guys or get a good look at how they are if your quarterback is checking down the running back every single time. So obviously it wasn't every time, but it was way too often. There were so many checkdowns from Max Duggan. he was going through his reads, didn't like anything, and again, wasn't really pulling the trigger today. So, it is what it is. It's early in camp. He's a rookie. He won't be able to do that in the preseason games. But right now, I was a little disappointed only because I would like to see how these other wide receivers did and how they would separate themselves in that kind of cluster in the middle of the wide receiver depth chart. In terms of running backs, you guys know how it shook out. We had Larry Roundtree at RB4. We saw Austin Eckler as a starter. Isaiah Spiller looked really good today. He had a pretty good run and a nice little run after the catch today, too. Joshua Kelly had a nice little reception today. Larry Roundtree is RB4, but while going through drills and watching the running back group more closely, the guy that just seems like he was in a whole nother gear was the UDFA running back Elijah Dotson. He just looked like in his route running, he was faster than everybody else outside that top three. He showed off some really good hands, really good acceleration, and he was a pretty good route runner. So Elijah Dotson's somebody to look forward to. He's got like a number in the 40s or something, and that's probably the only thing that's keeping him back from earning an RB4 is how ugly that jersey number looks on his back. Moving on to wide receivers. So talked a little bit about it, but by the way, I posted a bunch of clips on my Twitter. So if you want to see some video from training camp today, go and check that out. Forgot to mention that early up. There's some notes there too. I'm going to talk about it all here. But if you want to see some video, I'm over at Garrett Sisti. Go check that out, and you can see some of these videos. So the top four wide receivers today all caught a pass over 35 yards. They all went deep today. We saw Keenan have a deep catch right in front of Derwin James. Keenan just ran by Derwin. That video's up there. Mike Williams absolutely roasted Jasir Taylor for a really, really big gainer. Quentin Johnston had a deep TD catch towards the end of practice. That was against Jasir Taylor as well. And Joshua Palmer had a nice little out route. It was against Dean Leonard in coverage. Just broke outside. Nice little pitch and catch. Good ball placement from Herbert on Joshua Palmer. But all had big gainers. Everybody was downfield. Joshua Palmer was the one that hit the sideline, but everybody had really, really big gainers today. And the top four wide receivers really, really impressed. The Quentin Johnston TD in particular was amazing. The adjustment to the ball, it was kind of thrown a little bit behind him. He overran it a little bit, but able to catch that, come down with it. It was an easy 7, a great TD pass, nice little connection from Herbert to Johnston. So top 4 were really good today. The guys who are filling in for Jalen Guyton. So again, I think there's a cluster of guys after Jalen Guyton that are probably fighting for practice squad spots, but guys to look out for, kind of a nice little competition going on between a few guys. One being John Hightower, who had a really nice acrobatic catch on the sideline today. He did really good when he was given the opportunity because I don't think he had another ball thrown his way other than that. Darius Shepard, sorry, name escaped me. Darius Shepard's another guy who is part of this wide receiver competition. He is right now fielding punts behind Darius Davis, who Davis kind of had a quiet day today, but Darius Davis was fielding punts and so was Darius Shepard. And basically it was only those two. Keenan went out there and caught one. And I thought maybe they were going to let him try out a couple more, but he was just kind of goofing around during that special teams drill. So Darius Davis and Darius Shepard, it's the Dariuses as your punt returners and your kick returners. And so maybe Shepard, if he can make some noise as a backup special teamer, maybe he's a guy that can that can sneak his way on the practice squad. But outside of those two, Keelan Doss is another guy in this competition. He looks like a tight end, kind of runs like a tight end, big frame, not much separation there. And then the other one, the kind of hyped up UDFA, I think it was my number 5 UDFA, Pokey Wilson, was out there today too, but really did not help himself out. He had 2 drops in warmups today. It was a really, really bad day. Nobody in the area, just 2 bad concentration drops. Just not good at all. So Pokey Wilson didn't help himself out today. Keelan Doss couldn't help himself out today, mostly because he didn't get the opportunities. But John Hightower really making the most of his opportunities. He made the 1 catch. I didn't see Darius Shepard get much work on offense, but got a lot of work on special teams. So we'll see how that group of like 4 or 5 wide receivers at the bottom of the depth chart does with Jalen Guyton on the pup to start camp. They're going to be given opportunities. Hopefully these quarterbacks can get them the ball is what I'm hoping. In terms of the tight ends, not much to report there. The UDFA Ezeki got some run with the third team. Camp Moore made some nice catches, but nobody really made any good plays in the 7-on-7s or 11-on-11s. Not much to talk about in terms of the tight ends. It was kind of a quiet day for all those guys, really. Moving on to O-line. Starting five looks nice. Nice little beefy front when you see it on the field. It's real nice to see a lot of those five guys all together. And then the only thing I'll say is this whole backup tackle situation is kind of, I don't know, being overblown a little bit. There's a lot to do about nothing. Foster Sorrell is getting work as a tackle. He had some left tackle reps today, some right tackle reps today. And then Andrew Trainer is basically the only other guy on the other side. So it's Trainer and Sorrell with the second team offensive tackles. And, it doesn't feel like there's much of a competition going on there right now. Not as much as it's being played out to be. It just feels like Trainer and Sorrell are your tackles for the second team. Sorrell can't play left tackle and right tackle at the same time. I'm not sure that there's anything to that quite yet, but Andrew Trainer is your other backup swing tackle with Foster Sorrell as your kind of third tackle on the depth chart behind Trey Pipkins and Rashawn Slater. Moving on to defense. So D-line was interesting today. No Atito Abonia, no Austin Johnson, like I mentioned earlier. So it was a nice little healthy rotation of Chris Hinton, Nick Williams, the rookie Scott Matlock. Sebastian Joseph Day got a tackle today. It was kind of a blown blocking assignment. He got free. It was sack in quotes, by the way. They obviously didn't touch Herbert, as they shouldn't. Ran right by him, but it would have been an easy sack if it were in a game. And outside of that, Gerard Clark, the UDFA, got a nice little run stop with David Moa, who looks like a big man out there on the field. You could tell his size. And kind of having Clark and Moa next to each other is a nice little run package they'll probably run out in the preseason. Not sure that Moa makes the team. I think Clark might have a shot with these injuries and everything. But having those two together, kind of those big beefy nose tackles next to each other on early rundowns, they had success with it today, at least on that one rep in training camp. Linebackers were real quiet today. Not a lot of action at the second level. There was a lot of checkdowns and a lot of deep shots, but not a lot of middle of the field use today. Not a lot of tight ends used today because, like I mentioned, there wasn't a lot of work from the tight ends, which means the linebackers didn't get a lot of work either. Everybody looked fine. We saw a lot of Kenneth Murray on the field, which is to be expected early on before Henley gets all acclimated with the defense. Hank Kendricks was out there today, so nothing really to report in terms of the linebacker group. The corners is the real kind of marquee group here on defense because there's a lot of competition going on there. Like I mentioned earlier, Jasir Taylor got burnt today. He looked like an absolute speed bump or just a minor inconvenience to these wide receivers getting these deep shots and getting all these big receptions. They ran right by him multiple times today. He got the starting reps in the slot, which means he was matched up against Keenan Allen at one point. He was matched up against Mike Williams, Quentin Johnston today. Both Mike Williams and Quentin Johnston, not known as burners, were able to just run right by him today and get big gainers. One of them was an obvious touchdown, like I mentioned from QJ earlier. J.C. Jackson, Michael Davis were your outside corners. They didn't really get much reps today. There weren't a lot of passes outside the numbers. Didn't really their wide receivers didn't get open much. They didn't get a lot of opportunities, but they were your starters on the outside. One that did get some opportunities was Asante Samuel Jr., who had a pass breakup and almost interception today. So he made the most of his opportunities today, while Jasir Taylor kind of took a step back, if you will, on the second day of training camp. Again, I just want to say now, which I think we're later in the podcast, obviously, but not much to read into yet. We're the second day of camp. Somebody could be bad. As long as they turn it around, they're okay. But I don't think Jasir Taylor lost his job today. I just know that he's going to have to improve in the next couple of days, or else I think Asante Samuel Jr. is going to take over that role, because Zont looked so much better than Jasir Taylor did today. He even almost had an interception and had a PBU. So he did good. Other than that, Dean Leonard I mentioned earlier, gave up a pretty big gainer to Joshua Palmer on an out route. But other than that, he was just fine. gave up that one. He was really upset with himself because he let Palmer kind of lean into him a little bit and then break out, and he was just 2 steps behind him. Then lastly are the safeties. I mentioned Derwin got ran by from Keenan Allen. So he had a bad rep there, but he did get a fumble recovery that he ran in for a touchdown from Khalil Mack, who stripped the ball. So he did get a turnover there. Alohi Gilman, however you say his name, which I won't get right until I don't know when, maybe never. He had a pass breakup, absolutely beautiful play. I posted the video. It was a out route to Gerald Everett, and Gilman read it the whole way, broke on it, broke up the pass. It was excellent. And then the backup safety, Raheem Lane, had a really nice pass breakup on a late throw, which the video should be up on my Twitter as well, and had the only interception of camp so far in the first 2 days of training camp. So he had an interception. He had a pass breakup. Really, really good day for Raheem Lane, who is kind of on the cusp of maybe being that last guy on the 53. So he was the one that I had one of the last guys making the roster. Definitely made some noise today and made a really nice interception and a good read on a pass breakup. So other than that, I mean, I talked to you guys about Darius Davis and Darius Shepard as your returners. The kickers were even today, pretty much. I don't have the numbers, but nobody missed more than the other. It didn't seem like. It was just kind of a feel thing. Again, I don't want to watch special teams. That's somebody else's job. But outside of that, in terms of the returner deal, you've only got 2 returners right now returning kicks. We'll see if maybe they give some run to some other players. But right now, it's just Darius Davis and Darius Shepard. And that's it. That's day 2 of training camp. Appreciate you guys. Obviously, everybody wants to talk about Kellen Moore and the deep shots. He got 4 of them today on this Chargers defense. And it looks like they're opening up this offense. If today is any indication of the season, there's going to be a lot of splash plays on offense from Kellen Moore. The spacing looked pretty good today on offense as well, and looked like the offense was having a lot of fun. So credit to Kellen Moore on the day today. He definitely won it with Herbert and he spread it around to 4 different wide receivers. It wasn't just one guy taking over. It was 4 different wide receivers making a lot of big plays today. So that's it. Appreciate you guys watching, and we will see you next time.